All right, I'm Alex, the entrepreneur from Badger DAO, and this is a quick review of all of our hackathon submissions. I'm going to start from the bottom to avoid spoiling the surprise, but basically we're going to start with the pool prizes. We have Ipodrum, and I thought it was a great idea. What they tried to do is basically use Rand Doge to make it so that you can deposit Doge on Polygon and then use it to provide liquidity to IBBTC. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's just quickly look at the code, see if there's anything that jumps to my attention. Underwritable, balance shifter. But I remember this looking really clean and looking cool. And additionally, you had the... actually looks really simple. Balance shifter takes any ERC, shifts all balances. Okay, and basically they use the RAM bridge to bridge it out. I thought it was really cool, and so I'm very happy for your submission. Next up is the integration for the Badger set vaults into Enzyme, which would allow any strategies to integrate with them. From my understanding, this meant writing a wrapper that basically allows to interact with it. So let's check the commits. Create a wrapper, wrapped badge vault, add while listing. Let's check a couple of these commits. But fundamentally, the idea is sound. This is the biggest amount of code, if I'm not mistaken. You basically need to deposit and withdraw. And then there's some other tests and utilities. I thought it was pretty cool. So thank you for your submission. And hopefully now people can actually manage vaults through Enzyme. Next up, we have the submission from Diffo, which I don't think it made it. The problem I had with this was that this was a leverage comp farm, basically trying to farm compound tokens by providing WBTC. But fundamentally, the deposit function was broken. And if I'm not mistaken, they were using a function that was an internal function, while the reality is if you want to mint a compound token, you can just use the .mint to mint, basically. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. So basically it was overcomplicated and it didn't compile, unfortunately. As for the third place, we have DAO Moon. DAO Moon has a security vulnerability, so I do not recommend using this in production. Specifically, if you run leverage, this will lever up the strategy, but there seems to be no way to delever. And additionally, the withdraw sum after you lever will actually end up basically either breaking the withdraw because you're going to try to withdraw too much, or it's going to make it so that you can't you basically lose funds because it's going to set the balance to something that it's too small. So fundamentally the execution was acceptable in the sense that the code did compile, the test did pass. And you can see here that we have a few things that are nice. So congratulations for pulling through. That said, the leverage is basically not done correctly. So it just doesn't work. Don't use the leverage. Next up, second place, we have Shuefeng. Shuefeng did a leverage comp farm as well. And this was a better submission than the leverage Aave farm. The reason why is because it compiles, it runs, and the leverage kind of works in this case, so it's actually not a disaster. He also submitted a lot of strategies, so I just respect the hustle out of this guy. So let's check what he wrote. But fundamentally, this is a very basic strategy where, and you'll see how to deposit here, by the way, if you want to see that. But basically, the way you deposit is you just call mint with the amount, really simple. And then we have this borrow function, which is supposed to lever you up. And you can see here that if you go above, you repay. So that's a pretty good idea. I like that. The only problem I have with this leverage is that the can borrow amount here is based on the base collateral.mul leverage %, which means that you can set it to be a specific variable. And this obviously has to be less than 100. But fundamentally, that means that you can only borrow once. So instead of levering up multiple times, this strategy will just go on margin, basically. You can do like a 1.5x of the normal strategy. I know you can do better, and that's why I don't want to, this is not the first place. If you actually did the full lever, this would have been the first place. I also believe that this math may actually end up being a little janky with the withdraw sum. So there may be, I don't have proof, but there may be a situation where you actually end up not paying everything. And that means that since you're trying to repay this amount here, that may actually be amount.mul. Yeah, this may actually end up making so that you don't unlock enough funds and basically your funds get stuck. My advice will be for you to always repay and then withdraw and then re-lever. I know it's higher gas, it's more expenditure, but at least that will work all the time, and then build it up from there. But again, pretty good submission. Thank you for your work. And at the first place, we have the WBTC curve yield strategy. And this strategy is basically the way I wanted people to submit their strategy. It was great work, high quality, custom test, original strategy. So I'm very happy with this. And also because I didn't tell him to use this strategy, he just came up with it, which is a great thing. He did a strategy where on Polygon you can provide WBTC to curve, and then you can swap the curve and the WMatic into more WBTC, which is a great strategy that actually earns some decent APYs as well. Let's go and check. We actually have custom tests here, which I was really happy about. So I'm going to show those. And you can see here the test custom. He rightfully checked for the harvest custom, basically checking that the strategy actually end up paying out these rewards that are claimable, which is a great idea if you want to just check that the rewards are being accrued. It's a really good idea. And then there's also a test for checking if you don't have a price feed, and that's because this developer also added a chaining price feed to ensure that the price was proper. So I thought that was very well executed. We'll see how the feeds are being used here. Basically, you have feeds, square bracket, the address of the token as a way to manage the feeds. And I think that's just clean. I don't think it's better or worse than just hard coding the feeds. But all in all, I thought the implementation was clean. We see here, we can set a feed. So this looks fine. Then we have a way to deposit, and you can see that it actually checks for slippage based on the expected curve token, which is the one to curve. So let's check that out. This actually is based on the virtual price. So that means that this actually can be front run. So if you want to further improve the strategy, you would actually want to have a price feed here as well to ensure that you don't get front run. But that said, the harvest used the if per want, which basically uses the Chainlink feed interface. So I thought that was a pretty good idea, and it was well executed. And you can see here the harvest function. It basically just does a Uniswap v2 and it swaps out. And again, we have the custom testing, which was great. So this is how you want to make a strategy submission for us to actually entertain and use. I believe that this will be the base for a strategy that we actually end up using, and we may want to also continue collaborating with the developer. So thank you very much for all of your submissions. I hope you learned a lot, and if you have any question, you can use the various chats we do have. And again, I look forward to seeing you at the next hackathon. Thank you.